Why are we still here? September 23rd explained. Let's not beat around the bush. Simple. We are not on God's calendar. That's why Jesus didn't come back when you expected. That's why prophecy feels like it's echoing in the wrong room. God gave his calendar to Enoch, 364 days, perfectly aligned. Sun-based, not based on the moon. But when Israel was exiled to Egypt, something happened. They still loved God. They still worshipped God. But to openly live as a Jew meant death. So over 430 years, the calendar was lost. Not forgotten in their hearts, but forgotten in their rhythms. When Moses freed them, God gave them their calendar back. As they walked through the desert for 40 years, they counted the Sabbaths and marked their feasts. But time passed and Babylon conquered them, resulting in 70 years in exile. And only one man, Daniel, stayed true to the calendar. He would rather face lions than bend his count. When they returned to Jerusalem, it was under Roman occupation. The priesthood was corrupt. The temple was defiled. But the Essenes, a small group, stayed true to the original calendar. They moved to Qumran to be isolated and to stay pure and faithful, never straying from God's 364-day count. Then came Hillel II in the 4th century. The Sanhedrin was about to be dissolved, and Hillel II fixed the Jewish calendar permanently. It became a man-made system based on the moon, and leap years added. It may have been designed with good intentions, but in doing so, you're basically saying, God, your calendar is flawed. Let me, mankind, fix your calendar for you. In doing so, you're saying God is not perfect. See, God never told anyone to watch the moon. Genesis 1:14 says, "Let the lights in the heavens be for signs, seasons, days, and years." The sun marks the seasons, not the moon. The moon was a witness in the night sky, not a calendar. God never told anyone to look at a new moon to see if the day of the new month began. Oh, and to add another insult to God's name, they also started to name the months. God never named the months. It was first month, second week, day 1. God's calendar was simple. 12 months of 30 days, 4 seasonal days, one at the end of each quarter. There was a special Sabbath day to mark the end of that season. Every 30 days, a holy day. Every season, a pause, likely a fast, to reset the body and soul. There were no leap months on God's calendar. Every feast was on the same day and in the same season. Enoch, Moses, Daniel, and the Essenes all used God's calendar. My guess is that Jesus was on it also. Why would he stray from his father's calendar? And here the broken watch theory comes in. 'Cause even a broken watch tells the correct time twice a day, right? I'll get back to that in a second. So, many Jews switched to a lunar calendar after Babylon and Rome. Lunar years are 354 days. Feasts started drifting even further out of season. So, the rabbis began adding leap months every 2 or 3 years. They tried to keep Passover in spring by forcing the moon to align with the sun, still convinced God made a boo-boo with his calendar. Eventually, Hillel II created a fixed, perpetual system. Leap years built in by formula, not observation. Never mind that they could have picked up Moses' calendar again if they wanted. The result? The Jewish calendar now runs about 365.25 days, just like Rome's. Instead of Feast of Trumpets being carved in stone on month 7, week 1, day 1, the date is different every year. Jews don't recognize because the calendar didn't line up anymore. Daniel foretold it. They were ignorant, and their calendar corrupted. This time, however, God did not return their calendar to them, but even a broken watch tells the right time twice a day, right? So when Jesus fulfilled prophecy, it was when their broken Jewish calendar happened to match God's calendar. Jesus was not born December 25th. He was born on the first day of Tabernacles. John 1:14 says, "The Word became flesh and tabernacled among us." The word tabernacled is not a metaphor. It is a timestamp. Oh, and the wise man, kings, did not set foot in that stable. But that is a story for another day. Shepherds were still out in the fields at night, remember? That fits fall harvest, not the dead of winter. And Augustus's census? He did not care about Jewish feasts, or your comfort. He wanted to count heads after the harvest was in, not before. Fields would not be empty and he wouldn't receive his taxes. He needed taxes from the Jews, not corpses frozen in the wilderness. Joseph returned to the city of his forefathers, which was Bethlehem. It was the feast season, after the harvest. Joseph likely had family in Bethlehem, but Jesus was coming. and he was not going to wait. Joseph tried the inn, but it was full, forcing Mary to give birth in a stable. The whole point is, we are no longer on God's calendar. Not on Jesus' birth, not on his ministry. We don't even know exactly when he was crucified. Was it 30 or 33 AD? So, when will he return? Well, that's simple. When the Jewish feast align again with God's calendar. The way he got born on tabernacles, he died on Passover. On unleavened bread he was buried. First fruits he rose. On Pentecost the Holy Spirit arrived. We don't know the time and the hour. Yep, that's God saying, you drifted so far from Moses' calendar you can't tell if it's day or night. So now we wait for him to fulfill Feast of Trumpets. I know it's been hard we weren't picked up the 23rd. I kept myself busy recreating God's calendar. In the meantime, I count the minutes, and thank God for every 5 new people that came to Christ in the past 5 minutes. That's 7,000 plus new people whose name are written in the book of life by the end of the day. So, even if we are disappointed, let's just take it a minute at the time, a day at the time, and before you know it, we will be watching the wall again in 2026. Let's just thank the Lord for every brother and sister added to the family, every minute. I'm going to read my Bible, fill my calendar, and see what will unfold next. And remember, Israel, that generation that will not pass, is almost 80 years old, so it really can't be much longer. God's calendar Israel is younger, but not much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it gave you a bit of peace in your heart. If it did, please like and subscribe, and join me for the Book of Enoch.